Hey friends, welcome to another episode here of Cat Shorts, as we keep taking big ideas of the Christian faith and putting them in small packages, walking through Martin Luther's small catechism as we go along the way, which is why we call it Cat Shorts. So grab your Martin Luther hat or your 16th century reformer's hat of your choosing. Let's have a conversation. We've been talking lately about holy baptism, or about the sacraments, as these moments in our life of faith where something happens that's more than just an interesting object lesson or illustration, but also that's not magic. And yet something real happens with ordinary common elements like water, or like bread and like wine. And to start our conversation specifically about baptism, I have to go to this image that comes to my mind anymore for at least the last 7 or 8 years. When I think of baptism, I picture a toddler making snow angels on the carpet of a courtroom. See, years ago, on the day we adopted my son, he was about 1.5 years old and did not understand what was happening. He knew that his mom and I had been taking care of him for months, and we loved him and had made the commitment ourselves that we would love him, that he was our son from the first day he came into our house. But on the day that he was adopted, something meaningfully happened. Something changed that day, and up to that point, we were sort of in this informal kind of arrangement. But publicly, on the day he was adopted, my son became my son. He was publicly claimed in a legally binding way. He could lean on, if it mattered to him, he could know, I do belong. I am a son in this family because I have been legally adopted. He knew at that point, or at least he could have known if he had had the conversation with somebody, that he belonged. There was no backing out. He really and truly belonged forever. And the thing that happens when someone is adopted, especially when you're talking about a young child, is he didn't make any promises. He didn't have to say anything. He didn't understand really what was happening. He just knew he got dressed up in a clip-on tie and a toddler dress shirt and was having a good old time, literally making snow angels in the carpet on the floor of the courtroom while the judge asked questions of me and of his mom. But not our son. Because in the end, what made him adopted, what made him our son, was our promise, our claim, yes, this child will belong in our family. We will do whatever it takes. We will lay down our lives. We will raise him. We will provide for him. We will care for him. We will love him. Nothing will separate him from our love. Now, the understanding, of course, is that as he continues to get older, he will continue to choose to want to be a part of this family, and there will be points where it's difficult, where he's ornery, or we're being stubborn, we're being cranky parents, but his belonging ultimately doesn't hinge on him understanding what was going on, or for that matter, him having chosen it. It's more a matter of him being chosen, him being claimed. And the day of his adoption made sort of public, as formal and as official as it could be, a love that had already begun, but at this moment became something you could lean on and count on. And that, as sure as he can recall that memory of what the carpet felt like on his body as he waved his arms and legs, rubbing on the floor, goofing off, as sure as that memory is there, he knows that really happened. He really was claimed. Baptism, I want to suggest, from the Lutheran standpoint, is something like that. Instead of treating it as it's me choosing Jesus, that sort of puts the cart before the horse. Instead, as we've discovered in our journey through the Catechism, Luther sees that throughout the Scriptures, it's always God who makes the first move, right? It's back to cat-hold versus monkey-hold Christianity. That in the end, it's about God who does the claiming and says, you are mine. And at our baptism, as water is poured and the promise of God is spoken, something official happens, something sort of in a visible way that you can lean on, that you can hold on to, that you can recall, or others can tell the story about for you, even though God's love preceded your being baptized. And that's an important note, too, that it's not like God only loves people who've had water sprinkled on their heads, that God says, I don't love you until you've had the water ritual done. It's the other way around. It's God's love comes first. God's love says, I love you. I redeem you through Christ who dies on the cross for you. And now I claim you. And at baptism, baptism, there's this moment that you can see now. Now everybody can see it. Now you can see, this promise is for you. It's not just for some abstract group called humanity or for other people or for religious people, but it's for you. And what makes it happen, what makes it work, is God's promise, rather than leaning on our understanding or our promising it. So, at my son's adoption, what made him legally my son, as far as any legal standard, is my promise to him. As he gets older, he will continue to have to decide how he wants to continue in this life, being a part of my family, being a part of this family, knowing he belongs there. But the claim starts with us as parents saying, we will do whatever it takes. You are our child. I want to suggest, too, that even when the Bible uses the imagery of being born, when it talks about baptism, sometimes we hear that language about being born again or born from above. It's the same thing, too. I mean, when you're born, when you're physically born as an infant, you don't do any of the work. That's something that's given to you as a gift from your mom. Maybe doctors get an assist, but it's a gift that's handed to you. And if we get that, if we understand that what it is to belong in God's family is a gift that God gives to us, God's claim, God's work, God's birthing us, that changes everything. So I don't look at baptism as, did I check the number of rituals required off a list? But instead, I need this moment where it can be seen publicly, where everybody can say, yep, you can count on it. It's for you. You belong. You are claimed. That's where our conversation about baptism starts. So thanks for joining us for this conversation here on Cat Shorts, and we'll pick up next time. Bye.